Measuring in at 6'2.5" with a 6'3.5" wingspan and a 40.5-inch max vertical, Kingston Flemings has slightly slid down draft boards prior to and then following the NBA Combine. While his measurements are slightly disappointing compared to his listed height of 6'4" from the University of Houston, the San Antonio native point guard showcased an excellent breadth of skill and talent in his one-and-done season that lead me to believe he will have a successful career in the NBA. In his lone season with Houston, Flemings put up a stat line of 16 points per game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on 47% efficiency from the field overall, 38 from 3, and an impressive 84 from the line. However, as with many prospects across this draft and in every draft year, there are glaring flaws in his game that will be needed to be worked out before he can reach what I assume to be his potential. Especially in a guard-heavy lottery like this in the 2026 draft, there's such a broad menu of guards to choose from that make me think he'll definitely have to be an acquired taste in order to stand out to teams in a wide field of players such as Keaton Wagler, Braden Burries, and Mikal Brown Jr. Nonetheless, I am a huge fan of Kingston Flemings' game and how he projects as a player in the league. Obviously, like I said, those glaring flaws will need to be worked out a little bit in order for him to reach the ceiling I think he can reach, but in general, I could easily see him fitting into where the game is heading. You know, I'm watching the conference finals and I see teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder play lineups with 4 guards that can all dribble, pass, shoot, and defend. And Kingston Flemings is someone who can play bigger than his size as well, as we'll see through the clips with Houston. I can easily see him slide into this type of role and the growing needs for guards of this variety. And so with that being said, let's get into his game. Per Synergy Sports, Kingston Flemings was in the 70th percentile for offensive efficiency at a rate of 0.99 points per possession. And I think he'd be much more efficient with a shift in his shot diet. And now while this is an impressive number, reshaping his shot diet towards taking more threes than pull-up mid-ranges will allow him to have an even more efficient scoring palette. And so I think Flemings a little too often pulls up for mid-range jumpers at the elbow, and while he does shoot them with efficiency and creates excellent space on these with a combination of his timing and his lift, I do kind of doubt that NBA teams will allow a rookie to do it at such a volume as to what he performed at Houston. However, he does have a great feel for the game in this respect. Not only is he in tune with his body and its position on the floor, but he knows how to effectively use the space between him and his defender to rise up and create the requisite separation for a good look. Flemings is a dynamic ball handler as well, which allows him to move unpredictably and be shifty on those drives, which allows him to once again create adequate separation from defenders and let him play a little bit bigger than his size. And not only that, but he's pretty much strong enough to finish around the rim despite his smaller size. And like I said, the feel for the game with him is strong, and his timing on when to jump, when to strike, and when to lean his body forward to explosively leap for a layup is very effective. He's also extremely patient, which although may clash with the extreme pace of the NBA, it's nonetheless a positive quality in my opinion. And moreover, as an 86th percentile efficient pick and roll ball handler, it's clear that he has the poise and the skill to be a lead ball handler at the next level, and definitely a supplementary handler as he starts his career. He's got a great dribble package as well that lets him start and stop and change speeds around defenders to get buckets, and I truly believe in his ability to score at the next level, although not at an insane rate to start things off. I'd like to see him shift, like I said, more towards taking those threes and those pull-up mid-ranges, but I think there are better qualities to his game apart from his scoring, but nonetheless he's shown decent promise in a very strong conference like the Big 12. Not only has he shown an ability to get baskets on his own, but as we'll show, he's able to help his teammates at the same time.
You don't play defense, you don't play for Kelvin Sampson. It's like you're a member of SEAL Team 6. Their practices are epic. Kingston, a shot we saw them take a lot in the first half. It's just finding it hard to shed that first defender. But you're not going to get anything off the first action. It's got to be the second action. Here's the switch with Badunga switching out on a guard, and he is quick enough to stay with a guard. Flemings letting that shot clock wind down. Now he tries some, and he beats.
Including the fresh
So with an assist-to-turnover ratio of nearly 3, Kingston Fleming's playmaking has been extremely impressive, and it's one of the things that has me the most excited for him as a prospect at the next level. He's always quick to make the correct extra pass with things like one-mores and skips, and he loves to make a great dump off to a rolling big. Especially off of drives, I think Kingston Flemings has already shown an advanced ability to disguise moves into passes. For example, a Euro step may turn into a dump off pass, or a stride stop pump fake may lead to a kick out. And one thing that does concern me a little bit though is that he can certainly be a risk taker. You know, there's clips where we'll show he throws a one-handed bullet pass across the court, which I assume will be less effective in a league dominated by length and wingspan. However, the creativity and accuracy of passes demonstrated by Kingston Flemings makes me confident in his ability to be a floor general at the next level. We already saw him lead this Kelvin Sampson offense this past year for the University of Houston, and it shows that not only is he comfortable with having the ball in his hands and being a table setter for others, but he's extremely effective and turns the ball over less and less, although being at the top of the scouting report. And so with that in mind, it's extremely impressive what he's been able to put together for Houston, and I'm confident that NBA teams will give him the opportunity to let things happen and play make for himself as well.
Two fouls for Cincinnati. Walker dials up a triple and Thomas for three. In and out, and a rebound coming down. Flemings will push. Kingston Flemings kicks it out. Usan again. Yes!
DJ Wagner, normally 32% from three, has come out very aggressive in this game. Flemings kicks. That's Walker off the...
So personally, I believe that Kingston Flemings is most dangerous in transition, where he can showcase his unique combination of defensive instincts and speed to get easy baskets on the break. Kingston Flemings has an insane reel of deflections and steals that almost seem like they shouldn't happen, but they do, and when they do, he's so quick that he can glide down the floor and outpace defenders that are far ahead of him. Moreover, he can take quick advantage of the disadvantage he creates and sometimes stop on a dime and get that quick shot up. He's just so fast, and that's how he's able to keep his head on a swivel and be one of the most effective transition players in college basketball this past season, being a 93rd percentile transition scorer. This is an area that's especially exciting for Flemings in the NBA, as the quick pace of the league will benefit him and his opportunity to find minutes early on in his career, because not only does he have the instincts and the ability to get those deflections and start the break, but he's able to finish them on his own and be that lead guard who can find others all the while.
Certainly he's talked a lot about the disappointment of the national title game, but he had a heck of a run in the playoffs. He erased it the other way. Flemings hits the three. Hustling up, Flemings. He stops, he pops, he hits.
Even with a 15-2 lead, they play like it's a 2-0 lead.
Using it off the deflection, finds the freshman. Holds his own floor despite their droughts. A pass nowhere, leads to a 2-on-1. Flemings shields the digging here. That's tough shot for Lorient. Tugler got over, and Flemings floats away with it. Tugler defends two guys at once.
It's amazing. His recovery is extraordinary.
As is yours. Flemings
Yes.
got it. Top and didn't go up with it. Instead, he ended up in the trees.
And the other night, he had that right hook. He sort of drop stepped it to the right hand. Look at that hesitation to blow up.
Limited in practice, but you wouldn't know it today. There's a turnover. Flemings with a steal. And Flemings on both ends. The front.
So defensively, Kingston Flemings is an especially adept off-ball defender, always aware of the ball and his man in gaps, but is nothing to sneeze at on ball either. He's great at sticking with his defenders, although he does seem to be a little reckless on his contests, which I think is something he may need to clean up. And I think some of the fundamentals in his contest motion, where he's a lot more horizontal than I'd personally like to see, is something he can work on going forward. It's a little nitpicky, but I'd like to see him go for a little more vertical in the future in order to avoid picking up cheap fouls, especially in the NBA where a lot of players now are more commonly jumping into defenders. If he goes straight up as opposed to more towards the defender, I think he'll have a much easier time of not getting into foul trouble in the NBA. But even when he does gamble, his ability to recover is extremely strong and leads to effective closeouts. With his off-ball defense, he hunts deflections and live ball turnovers that once again get him out and running quickly, which is how he was able to acquire an extremely impressive 2 steals per game. One thing that I am worried about with him defensively is his relatively small frame. He weighed in at around 190 pounds at the combine, and so although it does help him offensively to get a little extra burst, especially on mismatches defensively, this frame is considered to be kind of thin, and it means that he can get bodied by more physical wings and bigs, which are more than common in the NBA. However, his quick recovery and active hands allow him to make up for these shortcomings somewhat, and at the league level, I am already decently confident in his ability to be an above average defender, which should be a desirable trait for many teams in the high lottery and in the league in general.
Back in. So Malik Thomas. He's been struggling, Malik Thomas. Last 2 games, Arkansas is really so good all year, has really struggled. And now they use this zone. They start zone, then they go man-to-man. They're all pointing. It's kind of a switching man-to-man. Now they're man-to-man. That's Brazil, 6'10", backing in. Left hand won't go. Houston, a really good rebounding.
Go to McCabe on the high post. They quickly double. Got caught in the air. Tough pass. And that is the first Houston turnover. Great play on the other end. Wow, Fleming. Characteristic to Kelvin Sampson to have to rely on young players. This many young players in his rotation. Comes in and immediately creates a...
Uzan, another 3-point shot.
And Uzan starting to heat up. He struggled from distance this year, but not in those last possessions. And now it's 16 pounds. Has been limited in practice, but you wouldn't know it today. There's a turnover. Flemings with a steal. College, and he is putting on a show here today. And now a turnover taken away by Flemings.
This is a good team. 7 wins, 4 losses. Flemings rips it away.
So although the draft is around a month away and I still have a lot of scouting left to do, I'm very confident that Kingston Flemings will at least be a mid-tier lottery selection by any team for his combination of his talent and athleticism on both ends, and I think he can jump into the high lottery as well. While NBA teams will likely need to coach him up and help him improve upon things such as his shot diet and those defensive fundamentals like I've been mentioning, he can easily project to be a high-quality starter on a winning team in the NBA. And I also see some All-Star and maybe even All-NBA upside for Kingston Flemings. And I would assume he has a very low probability of falling out of the league before his second contract. Flemings, at the very least, will become the type of role player that many teams covet, such as a Cason Wallace archetype, for example. And for that reason, I'm excited to see for what he can bring to the NBA. And of the lottery teams, I honestly, like I said, would expect the Thunder to be aggressive in pursuing him, maybe even trading up to move for a guy like this if they want to get rid of some of their guards to clear up cap space with the inevitable second apron punishment they're about to receive. However, teams such as Sacramento and Dallas are alternatively promising as great fit landing spots. I could easily see him sliding in next to Cooper Flagg and being that dynamic point guard that can help Cooper Flagg push the Mavericks into the next era of that basketball team. And for Sacramento as well, they honestly just need someone who can try to right the ship, especially when I would assume they're going to look to rebuild going forward. I think Kingston Flemings could be a great piece to build around for a winning situation.